I felt like it was very overdue and definitely time for a new nail video. Hello, welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. To all the new people, hi, I've been doing my nails for 14 years now myself. I'm a DIY girl. I am not a professional, okay? But I do my best to do my research and be as professional as I can be without actually being a professional, because there are a lot of things that you can do wrong when it comes to nails and just doing anything by yourself at home. I have a lot of nail videos on my channel along with a lot of other beauty content, lifestyle content. I'll post a nail video here and there. I'm not a nail channel, but I'm a girl who's done her nails for a really long time. Since I'm gonna do them anyways, why not film it and then share it with you guys? Because going and getting your nails done is really quite expensive, and all of the nails that I do, or like the set that I'm gonna be showing you today, cost anywhere from $100 to $200, and I'm sorry, I would never pay that much for my nails. I know nail techs need to go and make their bag. Nothing against them, but I cannot imagine paying for something like that that is temporary. But I also just really like to do nails. It's very therapeutic for me. If you're a creative, artistic person, you will probably like doing them too. My favorite nails to do is Gel X nails. There are many different types of ways you can do your nails: acrylic, dip, builder gel, poly gel. I have tried all of the ways, and Gel X is the quickest, best for beginners in my opinion, and I get my nails to last up to 5 weeks. So I want a very cool girl set. I haven't done a mix match set where I have a different design on every single nail in a while. I've been craving it. They are the most time consuming. This right here is what I've been wanting. Full credit to this person for this design. If you want to know how to create this, everything you will need, how to do these designs, isolated chrome, blooming gel, stay tuned. I'm going to show you everything that I do and explain it very in detail from beginning to end. This is the current state of my nails. I just have a plain gel manicure going on, so obviously I have to remove that. I don't think I've ever shown how I remove just a normal gel manicure. It's the same way that I remove my gel extensions. You can go straight in with acetone, cotton, foil, the works, but that's just going to take longer to soak off, so I like to speed things up by going in with my e-file using a carbide bit. And you can just take a normal file and file off all the shine. Again, the e-file just speeds everything up. I remove the polish without filing into my natural nail. I do have builder gel underneath, just removing that very top layer and a little bit of the bulk so it soaks off quicker. Now I'm going in with acetone and foil wraps and letting that sit for about 8 minutes. After that, I check in, see what I can gently scrape off. You never want to force it. That can remove layers of your natural nail. It's what makes them thin and damaged. If it's not fully coming off and still really stuck on some parts, just rewrap it and let it soak for a few more minutes. This usually doesn't take longer than 12 minutes for me, since regular gel polish manicures are way thinner than gel extensions. Once everything is removed, we are moving on to cuticle prep. Applying cuticle remover and letting it sit for about 15 seconds to soften up the cuticle. Then I use a cuticle pusher to remove the cuticle from the nail plate and push back the eponychium, which is that little flap of skin that everyone loves to call the cuticle. But the main thing you want to get off is the cuticle that's actually on your nail plate, because that can get in the way of all the stuff that we're going to put on, cause lifting within 2 to 3 days. For a cleaner look, I nip off that excess skin, but this was not my best day, and I nicked myself a few times. I don't know why, I just was not having the best day. I also shaped my nails here, but I forgot to film it. Now moving on to prepping our gel extensions before applying anything to our nails. Medium stilettos have just slowly become my favorite because I like a very tapered almond. Most almond gel extensions or nail tips are not tapered enough. I need them skinnier. I want dainty, elongated fingers. So I use stilettos and just round them out on the very tip of the nail. Also, I have no idea how people live with super duper sharp stilettos. I would poke my eye out immediately and ruin all of my clothes. You guys are built different. I size up all of my tips, making sure they fit from sidewall to sidewall. If one is in between sizes, go for the bigger one and file it down to the size of your nail. Then to make them last up to 5 weeks, etching the inside of the gel extension only where it's going to be applied to my nail. You can do this with primer, which I usually do, but when I want extra hold, I file the inside with a small rounded bit because it's really hard to fit like a regular sanding band in there. I usually do primer because I'm lazier and it's quicker, but I will say doing the actual like physical filing instead of etching it chemically does make my nails last a little bit longer. To make your gel extensions blend super seamlessly into your natural nail and to have one less step with an e-file if maybe you're not comfortable with it, take a buffer. I buff the top of the gel extension near the cuticle to kind of thin it out. So when we apply it, there isn't a little lip where the gel extension starts, and it just makes everything look a lot more seamless. Now let's prep the natural nail. I applied dehydrator to remove moisture. This step is very important to prevent lifting, and you don't even need dehydrator. They usually come in a pack, but if you have rubbing alcohol, that works too. Then I go in with primer. You only need a little amount. Too much can actually cause lifting. And again, this is just another step to make everything adhere better. Now I'm taking the Apres Extend Gel, which is my favorite. It's thicker so it doesn't flood the cuticle easily, and I think they actually came out with a thicker one that doesn't flood that I definitely need to get my hands on and try. I apply a super duper thin layer of that on all of my natural nails. So now we're moving on to gel extension application. I place a thin layer of gel where my natural nail is going to go, and then I scrape off a bigger glob that is actually going to fill that gel extension. And it takes some practice to figure out how much you need. It depends on how long your natural nails are. If you're having a problem with air bubbles, you probably need to add a little bit more gel. I don't apply directly to the cuticle. I leave a small gap, which is called the overlay method. This helps prevent lifting and gives more of a natural grow out, because one issue with gel extensions when I started them a long time ago was the grow out didn't look natural compared to acrylic nails. But now, in my opinion, these look just like acrylic nails, and I would not be able to tell the difference at all when done properly. I place the tip at an angle at the free edge, then slowly press down so the gel spreads evenly. Flash cure it for about 5 to 10 seconds so it stays in place, and then I'm going to do that to all of my nails. If you have a hard time applying the gel extensions, it's a little messy, maybe you're a beginner, start with applying to your pinkies first so you have your thumbs and your pointer finger free, and also start putting the gel extensions on your dominant hand. So you're using your non-dominant hand first so you don't have to work with crazy long extensions with your non-dominant hand. Once all the tips are on, I fully cure for 60 seconds to make sure everything is completely set and to avoid any risk of undercured gel and getting an allergic reaction. I always do one hand completely before moving on to the other one. It's just easier, less messy, especially if you're a beginner. This is a great tip. And most of the gels that I use still have that sticky inhibition layer, and little hairs can get stuck to it and it can just be really annoying and overstimulating unless you have all polishes that don't have the sticky layer. I low-key need to just get a bunch of ones that don't have a sticky layer because it annoys me so much. And I think Apres actually came out with one that is a no wipe extend gel. You can already see how seamless the cuticle area looks, and that's from thinning the tip earlier. Now I take a sanding band and remove all the shine from the gel extensions, lightly blend around the cuticle if it needs any. Of course, being careful not to file the natural nail to avoid creating a ring of fire. For an even more seamless blend, because I am just always trying to get it as seamless as possible, I take a small amount of acetone on a brush and lightly swipe the edge near the cuticle. This slightly melts it into the natural nail, and you only need a little bit for this. If you put too much, it can actually start to lift it, so you just want to be careful. Next, we're encapsulating using the same extend gel that we use to apply all of the gel extensions. This step is very necessary for structure. Apply it over the entire nail if you want even more structure if your nails are on the longer side. Add a little extra to the center to build the apex. Flipping your hand upside down helps it self-level, and then right when you see that like perfect apex, quickly cure it to get it locked into place. This is for my girls who like really long nails. Because if you don't have the structure, they're gonna bend, they're gonna break off, and you're gonna snap your natural nails off underneath, and it's just not fun. Now onto the design, the main part of the video that I am the most excited for. This is a recreation of a post that I saw. I did not create this design at all, so full credit to this person. I've been very into chromes and I wanted a very mismatched look. I start with base colors. I use the turquoise shade and apply 2 coats of that for full opacity. For the chrome nails, I am using a brown base so it looks cohesive from the underside of the nail. Darker layers underneath chrome give a better chrome payoff from my experience, rather than just going on top of a clear nail or white polish. For chrome, you need a non-wipe top coat. This is non-negotiable. Apply it, cure it for 15 seconds, maybe 15 to 30 seconds. Sometimes you gotta mess around with your non-wipe top coat. Some of them are different, I've noticed. And this is so the chrome actually adheres properly. If it's too cured, it won't stick. Sometimes if you haven't cured it enough, it will be that super sparkly look and not like reflective mirror chrome. I apply the chrome using a silicone tool for better control and less waste. And seal it with a top coat so it doesn't rub off. For the turquoise nails, I'm doing a marble design, and to do that I mix black polish with some top coat to make it a little less intense. I apply it very randomly. You can see this is not a neat process, it's just you're kind of slapping it on there. Then I dip my brush in acetone and just dot it in those places. You kind of want to move your hand up and down to wiggle it around, make it drip, and it just instantly gives a marble vibe. You want to let all the acetone dry down before you cure it because it can make weird air bubbles on your nail. So once it dries, cure it into place. For the French tips, I will forever use the T method because it guarantees symmetry and saves so much time. For this 3D gem look, I'm using a very thick gel that doesn't move. To get these shapes, I just get a bigger glob on my brush and set it down and kind of do circular motions, lifting it up to lift it up. You can also just go in with a huge dotting tool and do this. I love this gel though because it does not bleed at all. Once it's where you want it, cure it, and then I paint it the same exact way I just did that marble nail, just on a way smaller scale. On the French tip, we have this very subtle blue ombre going on. You could do this with some pat gel, but I just threw the same blue polish in my airbrush. Pink stuff I'm putting on is liquid latex, so when I peel it off, it's a super clean line. For the isolated chrome, you need a matte base first. If you don't, your chrome is just gonna stick everywhere and be super messy, super sparkly everywhere. It's not gonna look neat. Then I go in with a non-wipe gel to draw the design, cure for 15 seconds again, and apply the chrome. Taking that thicker gel and adding polka dots along the line of the French tip. I do want them to be a little bit more raised, so that's why I'm going in with a thicker gel. Curing it for 15 seconds and then rubbing the chrome on. For swirls, work in small sections. You need so much patience. And really just move your hand around so you don't have to draw in weird directions, because I know it can be a little awkward sometimes, but they're not as hard as they look. Especially when you're using a thicker 3D gel, you can kind of like lift your brush up if you have more gel on the brush and just let the gel do its thing. For the turquoise nails, I am only encapsulating the chrome because in the inspo picture it kind of looked like the background was matte and I liked that. After all of the isolated chrome is done, I'm encapsulating all of the nails with top coat. And if you have a problem with your isolated chrome rubbing off a few days later, I suggest to put a little bit of a thicker gel on top of it to kind of protect it, because I have had that problem in the past a lot. Now we are moving on to the other hand, painting all of my base colors. For the ring finger, it's this very chaotic, covered fully in chrome and gems. I use my thicker gel to place the charms so they don't slide around, which gives me more time to adjust the placement before curing. And obviously this is going to be a little bit different than the picture because I have to work with what I have. For the pointer finger, I start with a brown French tip, then turn it into chrome. Encapsulating it with top coat so it doesn't move and doesn't interfere with our next steps. I'm applying blooming gel all over the French tip and then taking that same turquoise color, first dotting down the center and then along both of the sides. And once it blooms where you want it, instantly cure it to lock it into place. Adding a matte top coat because we're going in with chrome and I don't want it to stick to the nail. Adding some 3D gel dots along the French tip line, curing them for 15 seconds and then applying our chrome. And then I can encapsulate it with top coat. That nail had a lot of steps. The middle nail is that same turquoise marble and then applying a matte top coat. I create 3 raised silver bands using 3D gel. Curing them for 15 seconds and then applying the chrome. Only applying the top coat to the silver bands so the chrome doesn't rub off, but keeping the rest of it matte. For the pinky, I do a brown French tip. Adding blue polka dots along the French tip line, and then creating a small 3D teardrop shape using gel to mimic a pendant. Paint it turquoise and then do the marbling effect. For the thumb, adding blooming gel all over this brown polish, dotting turquoise down the center and then the sides. I let it spread a little bit before I cure it, and then after curing, sealing it in with top coat. Okay guys, are you ready? I have really been liking blue and brown together, and specifically this turquoise color with brown. It speaks to me. And of course I have my nails matching with Tiger Eye and some turquoise, and everything but this ring is from Free People. This one was thrifted. Yeah, if you want this vibe of rings, definitely look at Free People or thrift stores, vintage thrift stores. I feel like this type of nail is definitely gonna be trending in this spring and summer. I feel like these would be very, very cool for Coachella, any type of festival. Anything with isolated chrome and 3D stuff. That is it for this nail video. I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
I don't know if you like the way I put my words together, but I need you to stick with me just like some birds of feathers. But like bricks and scales.